Howdy everybody, it's Captain Andy Nolch here with another KR, another special cavalcade of funness, a cacophony of amazingness. And this one today is a review of the Revolt in the Stars movie script. Ooh, O2 levels, ooh, O2 levels, ooh, secret, ooh. So this was a movie script, Revolt in the Stars. It was a movie script that L. Ron Hubbard wrote around about the same time as the first Star Wars movie came out. And I think it was just after that. So I think Hubbard was inspired by the Star Wars movie, I think in 1977, because it was a big hit. And I think he was like, oh, you know, and at that time, he was making Scientology training films. So he was in this whole filmmaking mood. So he wrote this script, and the movie has never been made, but it should be made because it's a simple, good storyline, and it sounds so much like a Star Wars-y type movie, and it's not complex, and it's not like, for example, they made Battlefield Earth, the book, into a movie, but that was a huge book, and trying to condense that into a movie is pretty hard. You really need to give it like 3 parts, and that's what they should have done, but they made a big stuff up on that movie. But this is like, this is a movie script, it's written for film, and it's perfect. Like, it's just, it seems like a perfect 100-minute Star Wars-y science fiction type movie. And it was entertaining, and I enjoyed reading it. I give it 4 stars. So if it came out as a movie, I imagine it would be, you know, like a good science fiction movie, and I'd probably say 4 stars as a movie as well. But yeah, for the script, I give it like 4 stars. It was good. So the reason why this movie script might be a little bit controversial is because apparently the story, Revolt in the Stars, is a bit of information on the OT levels. Like, apparently it's backtrack stuff. You can look into that yourself. I don't want to, you know, tell anyone information that they shouldn't know. But, you know, Hubbard wrote this movie script, obviously, so and he wanted the public to see it. Like, the church was trying to get it made into a movie back in the late 70s and early 80s. So it must be fine for people to read it, because there's that concern in Scientology where people come across the higher levels and they're worried it can key them in and cause them problems. But this story, I don't think it'll key in. I think it'll probably be the opposite. It'll probably key you out. So yeah, it's a good science fiction story. It's actually the first movie script, like full movie script, I've ever read, which is kind of interesting, because it's like, it's not written in a book form, it's written in a movie thing. So it would be like you see planet coming up, 2 people walking out the side of a big white building, and then the line says, "Jimbo, what did you eat for breakfast?" or something like, it's written in a whole different way. But in fact, I like it. I reckon a lot of books you can do that. A lot of books would be interesting if a lot of books were like that. Anyway, so basically it follows the same storyline that nearly all major stories follow here on Earth, and that's that it's like good versus evil. Like that's in every movie. I mean, because that's the truth about life. I think that's what we literally are living. I think it's a permanent battle of good versus evil, and artists see that, and then they write stories and they incorporate that into their stories. So in this story, there's an evil guy. I think he's called Xenu in the story, and he basically is kind of like this giant sort of Hitler guy that wants to get rid of the excess population, and he wants to be a total dictator and basically be king of 76 planets or something like that. And he's been, in the storyline, he's been like sort of president for the past 10 years, and slowly society's gotten worse and worse because he's secretly been doing all these dodgy things and setting up like a police state and all this. Like, it's very educational. You learn a lot about what's going on Earth by reading this Revolt in the Stars script. Like most of Hubbard's fiction, he puts in truths about planet Earth in fiction form, and it educates you and makes you a lot smarter. So that's why I really recommend reading it. You can just Google search it and find it. There's two versions I might mention. There's one that's written in a story way, like a book. It's almost like someone must have read the movie script and thought, well, let's write this in a book sort of way. And I read that, and I didn't know if it was by Hubbard or not, but it just got boringer and boringer, and I assume it wasn't Hubbard because Revolt in the Stars was a movie script. So I thought, well, why is there this story that's written? So I guess someone was inspired to write a story that's the same sort of storyline, but in a story or something. But I found it boring, so it probably makes sense because that it wasn't Hubbard. So the evil guy, it's kind of follows a similar pattern to what our Western societies have gone down, in that we've gotten more strict government and more police state, and what they do is they come up with a crisis like a terrorist attack, and in this story there's a similar thing. It's like an alien attack or something, so that means we have to have security cameras everywhere, and we have to monitor you, and we have to do all this security stuff, because it's all for your safety, and it's just a load of bullshit. It's the government who are causing these things, like the Oklahoma bombing in 1995 in America. That was caused by people within the government. You know what I mean? That wasn't caused by outsiders. Like they do these things, and same as 9/11, they do these things so that then they go, oh, now we have a reason, we have to require that everyone's like microchipped, which will be one day. We have to do this. That's why we have to take photos of people before they go into nightclubs or whatever. And that's why, like, you can't just get away with making change. Like, they wish they could just make a change, not have a reason, but they have to have big reasons to get away with what they want to do. And in this storyline, and mind you, this is written in like 1977 or 78, and this is before all this shit's gone down in the world, and before the internet where you can find out the truth, and before Alex Jones and all this sort of stuff. And so Hubbard was just so smart and so switched on to what was going on, and so were other people back in those times. So yeah, in the storyline, the Xenu guy uses its like convenient excuses to expand the police state, and he's got like a dodgy psychiatrist that had been brainwashing people who the Xenu guy didn't like. And there was a dodgy like head of police, and there was a dodgy head of the bank, and they sort of teamed up. These sort of bad guys sort of teamed up, and Xenu was trying to take over. He was trying to become more of a dictator, really have control. But there was these things called these loyal officers, and the main character called Rawl. He's like a switched on person. He could see what was going on. He could see that the government was just taking more and more people's money in income tax, and taking more people's freedoms away. And he could see how, and he knew that Xenu was a dodgy guy, and he could see how it was a mistake that he ever got elected 10 years ago, and that he needed to get out. So him and the other loyal officers voted him no longer to be like the president or whatever, and he got kicked out. But he then quickly tried to create some sort of emergency situation so that then he could become the dictator before he was fully kicked out. And he'd already set up all these secret police all around the world, and he had secret armies almost that no one knew about. And so then he activated them all, and then he blew up. He brought I think he brought bunches of people to Earth and blew them up and stuff. And then there's I'm not really remembering the details exactly, but then there's a big fight scene between Xenu and Rawl, and I think they throw electricity a little bit at each other and stuff, which, by the way, humans can actually do. I've had someone who can light paper on fire with their hands. I've had him, like a guy, shoot electricity at me, and I felt it, and I was like, ow! It felt like a pinprick. I was like, oh, wow! Like he really shoot a zap in me. So people can do these things, but so he can do it a little bit, right? I mean, I know this shit because I've seen it. You know what I mean? Like the whole world is not what you think it is. It's incredible, right? But if you can do it a little bit, just like it means I imagine with a lot of practice and stuff, it means that you can do it a lot. I mean, it means it makes sense that you could get it to the point where it's like a whole fireball and you can go, and just shoot it, as opposed to someone like this concentrating. Because us as humans, we are degraded and we've had our psychic abilities hidden from us by evil people. So now the best you can get is the occasional really rare person who can concentrate and go and zap electricity into someone or bend a spoon with their mind after like really working hard and concentrating. You know, but years ago it used to just be like thousands of years ago, and on our backtrack, you used to just be able to just bend a spoon, like it was just, that's how life is. But things have just changed a lot. But we're getting these abilities back and we're winning, I think. The world's really starting to wake up to the cons going on. Anyway, so in the end, the good guys win. So it was a really normal Hollywood type movie. It was just perfect, and I'm surprised no one has picked it up yet. Maybe the church doesn't want people to pick it up because it has something to do with OT3, this movie. Because apparently you ordered this incident on OT3, and it's just the incident that the story is telling in this Revolt in the Stars script. So, you know, and you're not supposed to talk about the OT levels and that sort of stuff, so it's like really weird. But Hubbard wrote the script, so it's like obviously there's nothing wrong with people watching this movie or reading the script because he wanted people to get out there. I heard the theory as well that when Hubbard first found out about the OT3 incident in like the late 60s, you know, it had to be kept secret because if people heard the story, it would key them in. But since then, and I guess in 1978 when he wrote this script, so many people had run the charge out on this incident that now people weren't getting super keyed in, and he could make a movie and then everyone could watch it and everyone could sort of run the charge out by watching the movie. Because it's like a mild form of running out the charge. It sort of, I imagine it must sort of key you in a little bit and then you sort of run it out by watching the movie or something. Anyway, so the movie was great. I think that's all I want to say. But the movie script was good. It would be good if someone one day really made it into a movie because it was such a simple. What I liked about it was a science fiction story, but it wasn't one of these hard, complex ones that are hard to follow. Like it was really straightforward and simple and great. And that's what I think is a big problem with a lot of sci-fi movies, in that I feel like people want to be like the next Matrix, and so like they make these complex storylines that are like hard to follow. Like I reckon I'm pretty smart, and I remember watching that one with Leonardo DiCaprio, one with where they go on into dreams, and they just make them a bit too complex, and you're just like, whoa, how many times do I have to watch this movie to like properly understand what the hell happened, you know? So it's good to have this simple story that you can just watch once and go like, yeah, that's entertaining. And it's kind of cool, this story as well, because it was like they would have like crystal palaces in it, which is really cool. Apparently that's on our backtrack and stuff. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. I hope you like the new different background. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it again. I don't think the green looks that good. Anyway, I don't have a desk, so if I need to, in the future, for future videos, I want to have a desk to, I think you need to have a desk to like put things on and stuff, like books and that. Anyway, keep on getting up the bridge. Listen to those indie Scientology podcasts. Thanks for listening. I've been Captain Andy Nolch. See you later.